Hello and welcome to the Rugby Hour, your weekly hour of two guys talking crapola about the rugby. As always, I'm Hugh and I'm joined by Kieran.
Yes, back again. Well, where were we last week?
I know,
there was just absolutely zero rugby action to talk about.
Well, there was some of the European stuff, but because of the farce that was European rugby with it, it was just ridiculous what happened.
And a lovely Christmas break.
Yeah, a nice Christmas break. Well, how was your Christmas then, Kieran? How was it?
It was a good Christmas. Good to see the family. Just enjoy some lovely Christmas dinners as always.
Yeah.
And then having it all again in a sandwich afterwards.
Oh, Joe, on Christmas, I had a lovely turkey roll in the evening. Oh my God, it was
lovely.
It was so nice.
I did too.
But really, Christmas for me was just a day closer to the Boxing Day rugby.
Yes, and I had such a good time at the Boxing Day rugby. It was, it really is, because of course we didn't really have it last year, did we?
No, we didn't.
So it was really nice to be back to the Boxing Day rugby.
Yeah.
Great atmosphere, at least where I was. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Good atmosphere at the start as the game went on, fading and fading towards them.
Yeah, but we'll get on to that.
As hope diminished.
Yeah, well, really the only rugby that happened on Sunday was Premiership.
The
URC, all their games getting cancelled, postponed because of COVID, apart from the game on Christmas Eve, which was between the two Italian teams. But other than that, all the games were getting postponed, which is a real shame because I was quite looking forward to a lot of the local derbies. But anyway,
should we dive straight into the Premiership action?
Yes, I think we should. If we get started then with the first game on Boxing Day, the Ellis Genge derby, Bristol versus Leicester at Ashton Gate.
And what a game as well. Yeah. I mean, who would have thought if you're playing 1st v 12th in the league, you're going to get a game as cracking as that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for me, it was symbolic because, I mean, Leicester only won in the 84th minute. I mean, Bristol played a full 80-minute game and Leicester played a full 84-minute game.
Yeah.
And that was the difference between the two sides. But that's incredible performance, I think, from Bristol.
Yeah.
Defined for me by a moment when you've got 30 seconds to go in the game, attacking just in their half outside the 22, and you kick the ball away. I mean, and it comes down to fine margins just like that in a game like that. But what a cracking game. I mean, we've put on our TikTok page that with the crowd being so, the atmosphere at that game was it was something else compared to rugby. I mean, you heard they were singing Ellis Genge is coming home.
Yeah.
And
I will ask you about this because we didn't have the episode last week, of course. Are you excited for Ellis Genge coming back next season?
I'm not just excited for Genge. I'm excited for the whole combination of Genge, Thacker, and Sinclair.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, 2/3 of England front row?
Yeah, I mean, and Thacker's no slouch either.
No.
He's a very good player, so he's hardly going to be able to. We were saying with my Bristol supporting friends, he's hardly going to be able to fit his arms around them. He's going to be lifted up by them.
What I will say is a great scrummaging battle between Genge and Sinclair.
Yeah, there was a few. I mean, scrums these days are all about painting the picture, whether it's legal or not.
Yeah.
So I think there's a few decisions went one way, some went the other. There was at least one really bizarre decision to me, but the scrum decisions weren't game defining until you get to the end when a scrum penalty gave them field position. But I don't know. I wasn't looking at that scrum enough because I was too busy having my head in the hands about Bristol potentially losing the game, which we did. But no, I don't want to go discussing scrum penalties because, I mean, that's not really where the game doesn't deserve to be talked about reffing at the scrum.
No, I mean, I thought
it was a great battle, to be honest. You could see both. I mean, I was looking at the body height on that side of the scrum when I saw it, and it's just like you thought every time they were setting, you're thinking they're going down here. and they hold it up, and it's just the caliber of two England players to set that precedent of height and going at it and pushing each other to the limit and both conceding penalties. I mean, yeah, it was a good battle to see.
Yeah, but it was great all over the pitch by a lot of players. I thought Fitzharding had a very good game.
I do as well. I'm a real fan of Fitzharding.
I mean, his work rate is just off the charts. I think there was like a point in the game where in about 20 seconds he made 5 tackles.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Nathan Hughes is fit, mind. He's outplaying Nathan Hughes and England players to get into this squad. And he fully deserves it. He's playing out of his skin. He's real workhorse around the pitch. I think he's key to Bristol at the moment. And being on form, he just adds a little spark to whenever he gets the ball. Not only can he carry, he can offload as well out the back. He's got good vision as a player of what to do. So I think he had a really, really strong game.
Yeah, he did. Also, Bristol's first try, that pick up and run from Harry Randall.
Oh, he's glad to have him back. He set up both of Bristol's tries as well.
Yeah.
And what more for him to do? Trademark Harry Randall, quick thinking, on his feet.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that first try, I mean, he brushed off Nandolo.
Yeah, he did.
I was like, that's not an easy guy for the smallest man on the pitch to brush off.
Yeah, definitely not.
And then the composure he had to get that ball out to Johan Lloyd, and then back inside to Fitzharding, I mean, shows incredible class. I mean, you'd have to think he'd be one of the front runners for the England 9 if he didn't pick up injuries.
Well, yeah, but you also look, because there's a lot of good options for England now. I mean, not just...
Complete reversal.
Ben Young still has the first choice. I mean, in fairness, he's been playing a lot better this season, but still the best, I don't think. But then you think there's Randall, there's Rafi Quirk, who's coming in the England team. There's Alex Mitchell at Northampton. I'm a big fan of Alex Mitchell.
Yeah.
There's a lot of competition for that England number 9 shirt. And then you think about like Dan Robson from Wasps.
Yeah,
either one, and
I think it's the age of the young guns for England though, and the key battle for me is going to be Harry Randall, Rafi Quirk. Seeing how them two, I mean, that's only going to drive them both to be really great in the England squad because they're both great players. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top in Eddie Jones's view, at least.
Yeah. Well, Randall flat really was quite something, that break, but. Leicester's final try in the 84th minute. It was a well-taken try by Leicester.
It showed composure. I mean, they were getting pushed. The Bristol defence that whole game was really, really good. Yeah. I mean, Leicester scored a more try and a try in the final minute.
Yeah.
And I think Bristol's defence was really... I mean, Leicester, bear in mind, they were... I think halfway into Bristol's 22, when they got that scrum from Charles Piutau, keeping ball. People, by the way, I'm just going to clear this up while I'm on it. Piutau keeping the ball in, saying he cost Bristol the game by knocking it on. Didn't matter. I watched the replay. His foot was in touch anyway. They would have TMO'd it. It would have been a line out to Leicester. So that is not the difference here.
Yeah.
Because his both feet had to land in touch, of course. But
yeah.
But I mean, Bristol pushed them back towards the halfway line, and Leicester's composure to keep going, not knock the ball on. There was a small mistake. Are we going to talk about with the that wasn't picked up by the ref or TMO, but very much by the commentary team of an obstruction, which for me that is the most typical obstruction you get. Player running behind the supporting player, stopping the tackler from making the tackle, and he did still make the tackle, but he still gained a few extra yards. Yeah, I think that's a pretty cut and dry penalty. You've seen it time and time again, but it's one referee decision. They don't go your way all the time. And what composure from Leicester to finish it in the corner, not get greedy.
I mean, there was the pass from Dolly, the replacement hooker, was actually a real quality.
Yeah, it was really good pass.
Because at that point, you can't afford any mistake whatsoever.
Oh, no.
I don't know. Also, just quickly, the Maul try Leicester did score. Montoya at the base of the Maul. How well he stayed connected on.
Yeah.
Because I
thought it was truck and trailer at first.
Yeah. Well, it was.
But he snuck around. He kept himself hidden, and there's more to just holding the ball at the back. If you add that little bit of extra skill to the maul, like he's now adding, that's going to really turn that maul into more of a weapon, because you can't just hit it and drive back if you don't know which way that maul's going anymore. Yeah. And if he's steering at the back like that, I think that's good.
Yeah. But
shows good skill.
Yeah, but that leaves Leicester still unbeaten.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Bristol, they're still, where is it? 12th in the table. Yeah, still struggling, but that was a real if Bristol performed like that, Bristol, as I said, they won that. They had that game in the bag, if not for 30 seconds of not being able to close out a game.
Yeah,
which you're going to expect for a team that's not been in that position the whole season. But it's the first game they've had Randrandra back for the full game, Harry Randall, Luatua, Kyle Sinclair's now back after international.
Yeah.
You, as much as you don't want to use injuries as an excuse, it is all coming together now that they have got the players from the injuries back. Yeah. And there's only more to come. So really promising for Bristol. They could be on for, if they get this consistent, a top 6, I would say, at the highest.
I think that is what Bristol should be aiming for.
Yeah, I think a top 6 is definitely still on the cards.
Yeah.
But they need to stick in a performance like last season, really, being that consistent throughout the rest of the games. And really, it's more about building momentum for the next season.
Yeah. But overall, positive for Bristol, but Leicester, can anyone stop them? And here's my question. What's going to come to an end first? Leicester's winning run or Bath's losing run?
I'm really not sure, to be honest. Leicester don't look like winning, and Bath don't look like Leicester don't look like losing, and Bath do not look like winning at all.
Even when Leicester do look like losing, like on Sunday, they still found a way to win.
Yeah.
And that is the sign of a true champion team, winning when you're not even playing your best.
Yeah, but a real cracker game of rugby. Atmosphere was electric. 20,000 crowd at Ashton Gate. Mm-hmm. I think that's all there is to that game. And we should move on.
So we'll do. So Newcastle Sale was, of course, cancelled because of COVID in the sales squad. I think Newcastle have been awarded the win for that game. So Sale languishing in 11th.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I know, but anyway, not much to talk about there. No. But if we move on then to the Saracens Worcester game, which finished Saracens 61, Worcester 29. Sure, it's not often you go away to Saracens and score 29 points. So I guess
the biggest surprise for me here was that Worcester scored 29 points.
Yeah,
that it wasn't 61-3 or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. But Saracens scoring 9 tries just being boringly ruthless.
I mean, Worcester got a losing bonus point though, and I mean, without relegation, you can't really say it's going to be key, but maybe good for a top 6 push.
It's top 8 that gets you into the Champions Cup.
Yeah,
it stands Worcester only 4 points off.
Yeah,
and Worcester have got a win or two in them, as we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, they've won the same amount of games as Bristol this year.
Yeah, and I was about to ask you a question on that. Yeah. With Worcester sitting in 10th on 20 points and Bristol on 15 points in 12th, who would you back to be more capable of a top 6 finish?
I would say Bristol out of that still, because Worcester have the odd win in them, but that's home, and that's usually if they get a bit lucky, or they just give it to Van der Merwe enough. And of course, with the Six Nations coming up and Van der Merwe going away, that means Worcester has nobody. But I don't know. I think Bristol will start to get that consistency back in their game in the second half of the season, I feel.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Bristol don't get 50 points put on them every week, as Worcester seem to do.
Yes, and the Bristol, especially the defence today against the top of the league side was, not today, I mean on Boxing Day, was absolutely incredible. and their attack was coming together, and they were all on to win that game, beat the league leaders, the unbeaten team. So I think if you look at that from that standpoint, it's all sort of coming together a bit better for Bristol, whereas Worcester, you can't so much see a progression.
Yeah, I mean, Worcester do have the worst defence in the league, and considering halves in the league this season, that is quite something. But anyway, there was a try by Nick Ezekwe where he absolutely did the last man with an amazing dummy, and it was a great finish.
Yeah, naughty.
Very naughty. But overall, no real surprises in that.
No. The result you'd expect with Worcester picking up a good bonus point, which is solid for away at whatever they call Saracens ground now.
I think it's Stone X or something.
Yeah.
But that leaves Saracens sitting second in the league right now on 30.
Yeah, and who would have thought, a topic we'll get onto later, but Leicester and Saracens might have something in common with each other.
Yes, they might do. They might.
So, sitting in top 2 at the moment, but we'll get onto that later.
Okay, if we move on then to the Wasps London Irish game, cracking game that, finishing 38 for the Wasps.
Looks like another cracker, and if you had a full fit Wasp squad, it's sort of the game you'd expect.
I mean, once again they're playing like Francois Houhard on the wing, but other than that, they were able to put out a pretty strong squad, but they're still, of course, few players. But London Irish, who, did you see their little ad for the to try and sell tickets for the Bath game? I
did not.
Oh, well, it caused a bit of controversy on Twitter because they did
as everything does.
You know, they did the thing from Love Actually, the cards thing.
I didn't know.
Have you not watched Love Actually, Kieran?
I haven't watched Love Actually.
But shame on you. Well, it's too late now. We're past Christmas. But I'm sure, because it was like referenced a lot where he holds up cards saying to this girl that he loves her and she's perfect.
Yeah.
So they did that for to get people to buy tickets to Bath. And they did use the "To Me, You Are Perfect" card. But do you know who they chose as the person that those were meant for?
Who's this then?
Paddy Jackson.
I was going to say Paddy Jackson, but I didn't want to.
Not a rapist in the same way that O.J. Simpson is technically not a murderer.
Okay. We'll say allegedly. That always covers everything.
I mean, it seems quite something to stake your entire club on a below average fly half who's past his best.
He's not been playing horribly, though. He's been playing some good rugby recently.
I don't think he's a great fly half.
Yeah.
And also, it's all for the heights of mid-table mediocrity. But anyway, that's enough of that. London Irish falling to a 38-30 defeat. Probably, it's not been as bad. A lot of the time this season, they've had games where they go down by 3 or 4 scores and give themselves a mountain to climb. It wasn't exactly a case of that, but it sort of was in a way. It was 25-18 at half-time. And I think at one point it was 34-18 in the second half, about 15 minutes ago or something. So again, another example of London Irish just giving themselves too much work to do. But they do come away with a try bonus point from that game. And Augustus Cravey, who can't stop scoring, getting 2 tries in that game. And he only played, I think, about 53 minutes. Yeah, just look at this on BBC Sport. He played 56 minutes and scored 2 tries.
Yeah, incredible shift.
Yeah, I mean, Augustus Cravey's been a great signing for London Irish.
He has been. He's really been a good performer.
He's still got the quality to play internationally for Argentina, if he wanted to. But for London Irish to have him all year round as well, and not just the try-scoring ability, his technical ability, which you all know he has, but also his leadership ability, obviously a captain of the Argentinian national team. Yeah. You know, he's been a really good signing, Augustus Cravey. Also in that game, Hassel Collins scored a great try. And I really think he does need to be in the England squad somehow.
But who do you replace? We had this discussion last episode.
I know. I just think, get him in. Get him into the training camp at least. because that'd be good for that's good for any player to be in the England training camp. Get him in the England training camp at least, and you get a chance to show Eddie Jones what he has. But also in that game, Frost at hooker for Wasps has now scored 5 tries in 6 games. So that's a quite good record.
Are they a lot of more tries?
Yes, there were. Actually, no, he has scored some quite nice ones.
Yeah.
The one in that game wasn't a maul try. I remember the finish because he jumped and skid for a bit and he got a nasty cut on his thigh. Also, Alfie Barbary scoring another try. It's great to see him back from injury.
Yeah. Where was he playing this time?
Number 8 again. He played there for about an hour. But, it's great to see him back from injury because he is
definitely. He's real live wire to watch.
Yeah, really good. Also in that game, Jacob Umang at 10 got a red card. It was in the 77th minute.
Yeah.
So the effect it had on that game was minimal. But I'm not sure if it was a red card. I
haven't seen it.
No, I thought Ollie Hassel-Collins bent down. I think maybe there was mitigation in that. But the problem the officials had was that Umanga was driving up in the tackle with his shoulder.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought Ollie Hassel-Collins bent down enough there to be mitigation. But
the benefit of doing this podcast online is I can now watch this and give my live thoughts.
Yeah.
Hang on, it's just coming up on the replay.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I can definitely see why a red was given. We have to be protecting players.
It's shoulder to head, and I think the key thing for me is the body height of Hassel-Collins. It's low, but it's not really dipping. It's quite consistent.
Yeah. Also,
I think
angle behind you see Umanga drive up in the tackle.
Yeah, he's always high, and he had enough time because of how consistent his body height is to adjust. So that's my judgment on that.
Yeah, but to add on to Wasps' injury concerns, now they've got a suspension at 10.
Yeah.
They're not having a good time this season, Wasps. But hold on, I'm getting the table up now. They are 9th in the league on 24 points. They are only 4 off Exeter in 6th, only 6 off Northampton in 5th, and only 9 off Gloucester in the playoff positions. And to think, with the amount of injuries they've had this season, to be in sort of grasping onto the playoff race with their fingers, they deserve a lot of credit, Wasps, for what they've done this season.
Yeah, definitely. They've definitely kept themselves in it. They've ridden the blows quite nicely.
Yeah.
So that they can come back in the final sort of round.
They've come out with bonus points of some sort.
Yeah.
Whether that's 2 or just the 1 for tries or losing within 7. So they do deserve a lot of credit, Wasps, for what they've been doing this season. But anyway, a great win for Wasps against London Irish.
Yeah.
And then if we move on to the West Country Derby.
Or do we call it the West Country Slaughter?
I
feel the scoreline isn't so reflective of how out of the game Bath were.
Not reflective of the game.
Because and in the worst way.
Respectable, but
the scoreline doesn't look horrible, but
it was bad.
Just nowhere, nothing in attack. I mean, it is like I don't like using Austin Healey's analysis much, but it's like the forward set up a few phases and just say, hey backs, do something with it. With no go forward, with
I completely agree.
With a fully set defence, your backs aren't going to be able to do anything really.
I mean, our attack is so unimaginative.
And even your defence, though, there's nothing going good for Bath, I feel. There's not.
Personally, I felt we should have played the territory in that game.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't have attack and you don't have defence, what more can you do?
Yeah, but when it started, first sort of 10, 15 minutes, I thought our kicking game was actually all right. They were very contested kicks of putting pressure on Gloucester, and I felt we had to carry on that, if not boot it into Gloucester's end. Because in the first half, we had literally none of the territory. I think we entered Gloucester's half about twice.
Yeah.
What I will say is, once again, I thought Orlando Bailey had another very decent game at 10.
He's been given a lot to deal with, and I think the coaching isn't helping him.
It's not. I was in the Telegraph the next day where they were doing player ratings.
Yeah,
I think they gave Orlando Bailey the highest with a 7 out of 10. And I think in the little bit of analysis, they're essentially saying they feel really sorry for Orlando Bailey because he's doing.
Yeah.
He's trying to polish a turd.
I was just about to use that analogy.
Yeah, and he's only a 20-year-old fly half. I mean, probably the only good thing was a little break from him where he beat a few defenders and made a good bit of ground. But other than that, there was just nothing going for Bath whatsoever. Underhill went off in the 11th minute, which was real unfortunate.
Yeah, never a good air.
Because I will say, the only seemingly good forward we have at the moment is Sam Underhill.
Yeah.
He's the only player that actually carries forwards.
And it's just a lack of intent from Bath. Like, no one, they seem to go into every game with the attitude of they're going to lose.
I mean, there's just nothing going for us right now.
You better be bloody glad there isn't relegation this season.
I am so grateful that there isn't relegation this season, but I
mean, if at least if anything comes out of the Leicester salary cap stuff, you might not be bottom.
That is true. That is very true. But I will say, Will Stewart put in a great kick.
I saw. I was amazed and stunned and trying to wonder if maybe I'm been too tired and whether I'm seeing mirages of.
You're hallucinating.
I'm hallucinating visions of Will Stewart putting in a wonderful territorial kick.
I know. It was. I couldn't get over it.
It's almost like he's yelling to the backs in his head, saying, "We need to play territory," and they're not doing it. So he's like, "I'll do it myself."
Yeah. But it was a great kick. But Bath, our maul defence. I've never seen a team defend a maul so badly. Like,
really?
It was just. I can't even explain it. When Gloucester had a line out in our 22, I was shitting myself. In fact, when they got a line out in our half, I was shitting myself because I thought they could go over from about the halfway line.
And it's that's just drills and it's just systems, and that Bath do not seem to have in place.
The thing is, we're not doing any of the basics well right now. I think we're doing them really poorly. And then we don't even have anything sort of skillful in any way to. I
think Bath, they're trying to fix everything at once, and it's not working because it just leads to below standard.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Bath were to focus on that, I would personally go for defence. If they were to focus on their defence and give them a platform to wear out teams, that only creates opportunities for your attack then, or they can focus on their attack and just simply try to get some points. But they're not doing anything. They're not building on anything in particular. And I'd say defence because it's the easiest system to get. It doesn't have to be inventive. It just has to have a system that works so individual players can work and do their job.
But there is also no work rate in the defence at the moment.
Well, yeah.
It just isn't. I mean, it's desperate. I mean, and our discipline as well was shocking. We got, I think it was Tom Ellis sent off, yellow carded on the 20th minute because we were conceding too many penalties.
Yeah.
And then what happened? They went and scored a penalty try and we were down to 13 for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and with Bath's defence as it is, being down to 13 is like a death blow.
I mean, at half time, I was just sat in my seat, my head in my hands. I was just going, this is fucking embarrassing. Because it really was embarrassing. You wouldn't have thought it was a West Country derby.
No, I think the Bristol Leicester game, I mean, that felt more West Country derby than the Bristol Bath game this season for me, because Bath are just so far out the competition. It's not like there's any achievement in beating them. As sad as that is to say,
we just weren't up for it in any way. But I would say, actually, I thought Rocco Duguni had a somewhat decent game.
Yeah,
I think he actually showed a bit of work rate in defence where he made a double tackle. But I just, this is really, really, really bad. I mean, there is no way that a club like Bath, not just how historic it is, but the amount of investment that's gone into it, training facilities, players. I mean, Bruce Craig stepping aside now as chairman.
Yeah.
Not Nick Griffiths coming in, the old Saracen CEO. You know, he came in for that review to point out the blinding obvious, and now has got a job as chairman.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if you've seen The Office season 8.
I haven't.
The US one, but there's this character called Robert California. He wasn't that great a character, but in the first episode of season 8, we found out he was a new manager at Dunder Mifflin and Scranton.
Yeah.
He didn't like the look of it, so he drove down to Florida to corporate and talked the CEO out of her own job and took over. And that feels a bit like what's gone on just now.
Yeah.
Because he came in, he pointed out the blindingly obvious that we need a defence coach, and now he's chairman.
Yeah, and I think Bath, screw long-term changes, do something this season. It's just sad.
I mean,
do something. Bristol, when we came up with Andy Robinson, started doing poor. You get someone in as an interim at least.
Well, that's the thing. I know we got Van Grant coming in next season, which I'm really excited for that because.
But are you going to have any fans left by next season?
Well, in fact, our attendance was 14,361. And our stadium was 14,500.
So 14,000 people that would have wished they weren't there by the end of it.
Yeah, basically. So, you know, I mean, Bath is a well-supported club.
It is, yeah.
We were all trying to stay positive, but there aren't any positives.
It's hard. I mean, I'm trying to find the positives from it, but even for me, and I'm a Bristol supporter, I should be wanting Bath to get relegated, but no. Like, it's just sad. It is. And I never thought I'd feel sympathetic towards Bath.
But I don't see how Hooper can carry on in his job.
Yeah, I don't. Not even this season. I think the earlier he's out, the earlier they get rid of this air of just defeat.
It just seems, and it has been out for the past few games, that we're just sort of accepting, yeah, we're really bad right now.
Yeah.
The season's be over and won't try until then. But
yeah,
it's just not good. It's just not good enough. Yeah, it is hard this season, and I mean, we haven't won in over 6 months.
Yeah.
And we have up next. We have London Irish up next. I don't see us winning that.
Well, you could say that about any team you had, really, though.
Yeah, but it's like even we play Worcester on the 9th of January, I think.
Yeah.
I can't see us winning that.
That's about the only game I can see Bath potentially having a chance.
I can't see us winning it.
Well, I can't see Bath winning much at the moment. That's the thing. But I think if there's any game they can, I think it's that Worcester game. I think that's the opportunity.
Worcester, where it shouldn't be a marginal, maybe we could pick up a point there.
Yeah.
It's so... Oh, it's difficult. It's difficult to watch right now.
But
we have the worst attack in the Premiership. We've only scored twice this season.
Yeah,
it's the worst in the Premiership. Our defence is the second worst.
Yeah,
which, you know, we're lucky that Worcester get beaten by 60 points most week. But in 3 of our last 4 games, we've conceded over 40 points or more.
Yeah.
In 3 of our last 4. It is not a good situation. And there needs to be serious changes in the new year just to get us through to the end of the season. There just needs to be something happens.
Yeah, but should we take your pain away?
Oh no, because we haven't talked about Gloucester at all, which I think.
Oh yeah.
Look, Gloucester are a quality team, and I know. Look, I will say I did think we made Gloucester look a lot better than they actually are.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, Gloucester are a good team, and George Skivington's done a great job there. And players like Chris Harris was really on it. They're more, which they scored like 80% of their tries from this season. And I know that we just practically gave up trying to defend it. Well, from the first minute, but their maul was really strong and it was really dominant.
Yeah,
and it just bulldozed through. I mean, they scored a penalty try from it and another try. But overall, Gloucester, I think this is Gloucester's record win in the West Country Derby.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be a real positive for them to take, and it actually moves them into the playoff positions.
Yeah, and sort of a wild card, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't predicting anything like this when the season started, but Gloucester, full credit to them. They're sitting in quite a healthy position right now. 6 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw.
I mean, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, they're only a point behind Quins as well, only 4 behind Sarries. So
I mean, they're all in for the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, they are. I mean, the playoff race is now starting to heat up, and in fact, it's quite close. You think, what is it? Gloucester in 4th on 33. They're followed by Northampton on 30, then Exeter on 28, then Irish on 27, and continues like that.
Yeah.
All the teams sort of within 3 points of the team above them. Yes. So, it really is anyone's guess who's going to finish in, I'd say probably 3rd and 4th, because I think Leicester and Sarries are looking a pretty good bet to get in the playoffs at the end of the season. But between especially the teams in between 3rd and 6th right now, Quins, Gloucester, Saints and Exeter, that is really... I
mean, you can look further down past there. I mean, London Irish are only 1 point behind Exeter.
Yeah.
And it's really wide open. If any, I think, I mean, you can look to most of the teams, even down to Bristol might be pushing it, but they're not that far out of reach. That a really, really good run of form could soon bring them up into that race towards the bottom edge of it, granted, but
there really is
so open.
There is no room for error in the Premiership.
Yeah,
there is no room for it. By the way, just quickly, Exeter, they had their bye week this week. That was a pretty good bye week, have it over Christmas.
Yeah.
They did quite well out of that, I think.
They did, yeah. Lucky them.
Anyway, to conclude on Bath Gloucester, oh my God, it's so depressing for Bath right now, but full credit to Gloucester. And we will move on then to Big Game 13.
Yes, the game on the Monday.
Yes, at HQ, at Twickenham, finishing Harlequins 41, Northampton 27.
Good game as well.
Before I talk about the rugby, can I just point out the kit that Quins had on was absolutely shocking. It was horrendous.
Yeah, I want to know in the design and marketing department who thought, big game kit. What better big game colour than brown?
Was it brown? Was it dark green? It was like awful. I mean, Quins for big game have had some nice shirts over the years.
Yeah,
I don't get why they couldn't just go with something that they usually.
And also the women's had to wear men's size kits.
Yeah, that was poor. Poor. I mean, it was great for the women's team to be on just before.
But wearing kits that are clearly...
Yeah, I know. And I think there were like some serious... For example, you couldn't get any hospitality for the women's game. It was only for the men's game. And those who were in hospitality ready for the men's game, they had lunch. But lunch was served during the women's game. I thought that it was poor showing. And not having a kit for the women to properly wear, that's a choice by Harlequins not to. So
yeah,
I thought that was a poor show.
I think that their only saving grace would be if it was to time on or
but
on the
I don't.
supplier side. But
The men's team wouldn't have been sent out to play an unsuitable kit. So
no,
really disappointing on that front. But if you are looking at the positive, to have a women's game on at HQ just before the men's game, really positive for the women's game. And as of course got close to kick off the men's game, you had more people coming in to watch the women's game.
Yeah.
So that's really good to see. And I would really like to see. I think that the final of the Premier 15s should be played just before the Premiership final.
Definitely.
I think that's something the BBC. That's something that could easily be arranged. So I was just mentioning BBC because I thought I saw by Rugby on Inside Line on Twitter was saying that they said this for a while. They think that this game should have been on free-to-air TV.
Yeah.
Given the way that both Quins and Northampton had been playing, it was going to be a good game, and it was a good game, and it would have been a real good chance to get more casual viewers into the club game if it was on free-to-air.
Yeah, but I mean, BT and Premiership Rugby seem to want to do the most this season to not show as many games as possible.
No, but it's just irritating. Because you're not going to expand the game if you keep it behind the paywall.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, if you have it on free to air, when everyone's in, because it's in that awkward state after Christmas between New Year's.
Yeah.
You're just having the only thing actually on TV is just runs of movies,
old movies, and people would tune in for they give it a fancy name like they had with the Clash. Or something, and you get more viewers in.
I mean. I don't know. I would like to see games be put on free to air. Whilst that we can bring more viewers in. I mean, it's like last season there were games on Channel 5 and Channel 4.
Yeah.
But of course now there's no highlight show on a free to air channel. I mean, Premiership Rugby doesn't exactly help itself in trying to.
No. Its only hope is people getting people like friends in and. Out of curiosity.
But it's an issue like, I don't get why they can't show every game.
Yeah.
They can in every other country. In the URC, every game you can watch on Premier Sport.
I mean, they record every game. They have cameras at every game for the highlights.
They put
and for the full match. Yeah.
After what the BT Sport extra channels aren't being used for anything else.
Yeah.
I don't get why you can't just put it on, because people aren't going to not go to the game just because it's on TV.
I mean, the atmosphere's the whole point of going to the game.
Yeah, and I much prefer, and I think if anything, lockdown proved it is much better being in the stadium now.
Yeah, definitely.
But hey, that's a little thing. But if we get on to what was a really, really good game between Quins and Northampton, I mean, that first half was it was quite something. I mean, we had about 4 tries in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was really end to end, and it was they've both been playing very good rugby this season, Quins and Northampton. They're really good attacking teams to watch, and it was because a lot of the times before big games where you're expecting a lot, you talk it up and the match doesn't really live up to the hype. But this one certainly did.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think there were 70,000 tickets sold. So that's nearly selling out Twickenham for a game of the Premiership, but that's not the final. So that's really good to see as well.
Yeah, it is.
But if we talk about actually some of the rugby, so one of the things I did see was the competition between Don Bryant and Augustus, both try scoring number 8s.
Yep.
And that finished Don Bryant scoring 3 tries, Augustus scoring 2.
Both had really, really solid games.
Yeah, both did. I mean, also Wallace scored for Northampton. And mind you, they scored all their points in the first half, Northampton, apart from a penalty at the start of the second half. But
yeah, Quins again being the dominant performers in the second half.
Yeah, and also there was Marcus Smith, he had COVID.
Yeah.
So Edwards had a great game. I think it was Don Bryant's first try, I want to say, where Edwards had put brilliant delay on his pass just holding it, waiting for the perfect time. And John Brandt, of course, going straight through the hole. Esther Hazen got man of the match in that game. Probably deserved as well. He had a cracking game, as he does most games. He's been playing really well. There was this one excellent catch from Tyrone Green in the second half, where he slid across the pitch to catch it, and he caught it while playing on the floor. And they were saying he needs to get down to Australia to play in the Ashes. Of course, he's not, but because of how bad England doing in the Ashes. But anyway, this is a cricket podcast. Quins overall proving too strong. They just scored too many tries.
Yep, as Quins often do.
Yeah. So Murley got 2 in the game as well, and Liner got 1 as well. Great try by Liner. So must say you'd think England would want to get him capped because Italy and Australia are going to be sniffing around.
Yeah, definitely.
So the Six Nations is might be the time just to throw him in off the bench against Italy. Everyone else. Also, this is unrelated, but one player that we could be seeing playing for Italy in the Six Nations is Alex Ozovsky, because he's now available for Italy. I think that'd be great to see.
It could be.
Italy have tried that sort of 10-12 of Garbisi and Canna. Yeah. And, if you're adding I'd say probably you'd see Canna drop out of that if they try to play that for Lozovsky. If they want to go with that 2 playmakers, because Lozovsky this season especially has been playing great rugby, and he's a real
and if he can get some international rugby, I think it would only be good.
So I think Italy would be fools not to try and snap him up in the Six Nations. They really would, because he's a real quality player who just doesn't seem to have that extra bit to be in the England team. But anyway, for Northampton, who come away empty-handed. Feels
like they deserved a bit more.
Yeah, they probably deserved a bonus point, even for a try when a losing one. But of course, in the race for the playoffs, that's going to be that could prove to be very crucial at the end of the season. Quins coming away with all 5 and Northampton with none. But overall, Quins playing like the champion team that they are, showing us that they're champions for a reason. Northampton playing well for a lot of the game, but I think they lacked the squad depth, especially in the front row. Their replacement front row came on, and they started to get dominated against what was a tired Quins front row as well. So that might be a trouble going in later in the season. But players like their back row, I was a big fan of, with Laws, Ludlam, and Augustus. That's a nice back row.
It's nice,
that's real. That's a real quality back row. And of course, you've got Mitch, who I thought had another good game at 9. You had Bigger, who I thought played well as well. You got Furbank at 15. They got some real quality in that squad, Northampton Saints. They have played good rugby. But play against Quins is always going to be difficult, let alone in what is their special day. That's at Twickenham for big game 13. But overall, excellent win for Quins. You'll be delighted to come away with the 5 points. That rounds up the rugby.
A good weekend of rugby.
Yeah, another good weekend. But if we move on before we talk about predictions for next week, to Leicester have been very naughty.
Naughty boys.
Well. That is
allegedly.
Well, there's going to be an investigation, isn't there? So imagine that. Being unbeaten and then you get relegated.
But what would my question is, what would happen? Because it's points deductions, and if there's a points deduction this season, there isn't relegation. But yet Saracens, their punishment was relegation, which was ensured, guaranteed. So do they make an exception and add relegation if?
I would say that the precedent has been set.
I think the reason for no relegation, of course, is because it's unfair with the COVID games, really. The games cancelled by COVID.
Yeah, and of course,
that doesn't affect if they break the rules.
In the league, you want to get it back to an even number.
Yeah, and they can always. I mean, yeah.
But then look, if found guilty, then I think the precedent has been set, and Leicester then do need to be relegated.
Yeah,
if they have breached the salary cap. But then it would become a question of what do they do next season? Do you go back down to 12?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you stay at 13 again next season?
Yeah.
Because, of course, the original plan is now no relegation this year, but there will be one team promoted from the Championship. So what you've had this season is in the Championship, you've had... Hold on, I'm going to get the table up now.
Hang on, I had a technical difficulty. I disconnected.
Oh, okay, well, I'll go over from what I was saying, is that...
You're just going on about the current precedent. And
all right, the precedent. So the precedent's been set. Leicester Tigers should be relegated if found to have breached the salary cap.
Yeah.
But then it becomes a problem of what do you do next season? Because, of course, this season, the reason there's no relegation is so we can get back to an even number of teams next year, where one team's going to get promoted from the Championship.
Yeah.
So... do you, if Leicester have to go down, then say we'll go back to 12 next season, or have another season of 13? Personally, I think it would be so unfair on the teams in the Championship if we said you can't have a promotion this season, because you've got teams.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think the promotion has to stay this season. They've said there's going to be promotion this season. There has to be promotion.
I mean, you look at the Championship table right now. So on first, played 12 games, 41 points is Doncaster. Second, played 10 games on 41 points is Ealing. Third, played 11 games on 39 points is Jersey Reds. And fourth, playing 10 games on 38 points is Cornish Pirates.
Yeah,
so that's
big promotion fight.
Up. And it's not going. We don't yet know who would be promoted from the Championship. It's going to be, and I feel it would be a real kick in the teeth.
I think that there's no way they're scrapping promotion after saying there will be promotion this season. Yeah. I don't think there's a way they can do that.
Yeah, it would just not be fair on the teams that have been scrapping it out.
I think it does leave it open if Leicester do get relegated. To just have it stick at the normal 12 and continue that for the season to come.
But I'd be disappointed if they do that.
Yeah, I'd love a 14-team league, but then what do you do? You basically
maybe promote 2 teams.
Yeah.
Look, it's been said that we'll go to 14 teams next season as a promoted. But if Leicester have to go down because of being very naughty with their books,
do we promote 2?
Do you promote 2? And
I think you could well.
I don't see an issue with that.
No.
I don't think there would be anything wrong with getting 2.
Actually, that's a good point. I think that would be my preferred option.
You know, 2 teams.
Yeah.
Playing in the Premiership.
And some of these Championship teams do need to be prepared for this. So they're not just the bottom team easily bouncing up and down.
I agree.
Having a season where they're forced into the Premiership, they can make signings, because one of those teams will stay up the next season, mind.
Yeah.
So that would mean that those teams are going to prepare, get stronger, and create a 14 strong Premiership side rather than 12 really good or 12 or 13 really good Premiership sides and one Championship side that's playing in the Premiership.
I mean, not only would you next season then have a really good relegation battle between two teams who want to be at this level for so long and now are finally here, won't be ready to let go of that.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the season after, you'll have a team that have already had a season in the Premiership, will be more used to it, will have more money being invested, and will be able to sign better players.
Yeah.
And then you don't just end up with a scenario where you have one team going up and down every year.
Yeah, and one thing, I want to go back to this Leicester thing.
Yeah.
Will this really affect their look? Of course, they're losing Ellis Genge and they're losing George Ford. Now, they haven't announced their fly half replacement for George Ford yet, have
Yes,
they?
they have. It's Andre Pollard.
Oh, it is. I'm late on that then. I thought
They're
they hadn't
going to be
announced.
spending big bucks on him as well.
But yeah, if he's in the Championship, but back on the Ellis Genge then, I mean, is it going to be hard to find these new players to keep building the squad if they're going to be? There's even just the discussion that they might be relegated.
Yeah.
Imagine this came before Andre Pollard made his decision. Is he going to then say, no, I don't want to go because you might be in the Championship next season automatically? I think it would come into his mind.
Yeah, but he signed the contract. So.
Yeah.
But then I also look at it would most likely only be one season, the Championship, and you'll be straight back.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. But
all this salary cap stuff, it's like deja vu, I guess.
Yeah.
And what have they achieved from it? They've not achieved titles. The years they were probably cheating, they were probably down in 11th in the table.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think a big part of why players like George Ford have left and Ellis Genge is because they can't afford them anymore because of the salary cap.
Yeah.
You know, George Ford and Ellis Genge,
the salary cap, of course, has lowered.
Big bucks to them.
Yeah.
So that's why they've pretty much had to let them go, I feel, why they couldn't afford to offer them new and better contracts.
Yeah.
But they must still be breaching the salary cap.
Yeah.
And that is a real issue.
That's poor as after Saracen's whole thing as well.
Yeah. But you do feel that with Saracens, the precedent has been set.
Yeah. And top two in the league might be known as the Chiefs this year, but
yeah. But anyway, we'll see what the results of that are.
Yeah.
If then we move on, because we have had our final rugby played of 2021.
Yeah.
So next week on Saturday, will be our first games of 2022.
I've got the predictions table lined up.
All right, so if we want to go through it then. So the first game of 2022, in fact, in any of the top three leagues, is Sale versus Wasps.
I'll let you take
one first.
Just straight for the predictions, I think.
If you want, tell me.
We'll discuss about it. I'm gonna go for Sharks by. Scratch that. I'm gonna go for Wasps. I made my mind up before and forgot why I made my mind up. Wasps by 6.
Okay.
I think Wasps coming together, capable of maybe a bit more consistency than Sharks with the injuries they've had and how they've still been able to be where they are. I think they can they can have the Sharks.
Okay, I think Sale a bit affected by COVID, but I don't know if that'll be fine by Saturday. I think it should be. I think the AJ Bell's difficult place to go as well. Yeah. So I think for that reason, I see Sale grinding out a 2-point win.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll say.
Okay, so if we move on to the second game of 2022, which is technically a West Country derby.
Yep.
It's Exeter versus...
The real West Country derby. The interesting one.
Yeah, so that could be a...
I mean, you look, because of Bristol's last game now against Leicester, you really think if they put in a performance like that, there's no reason why they couldn't beat the Chiefs.
Exeter haven't been the best at Sunday season.
And so I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Yeah.
Your prediction first, while I think of mine.
So Exeter have been a bit inconsistent this season, and they've had a few off results at Sandy Park. Do you know what? I think Bristol will win this by 4. And I think this will kickstart Bristol into a good run of form.
See, I was going to say a close game as well by not too many points. And I was going to go for Bristol as well. I really think after their last performance, if they play like that against Chiefs, their defence was so solid. I can't see Chiefs breaking it down. As long as there's no COVID as well. Of course, Chiefs had their Premiership Cup game cancelled this week.
Yeah, which is technically, as this goes out today, we're against Bath.
So that might give them a little bit more depth and availability in the squad.
Premiership Rugby Cup would have been a backup side anyway.
Yeah, of course. But I think it's going to be Bears by 6.
Okay.
I've done 6 by 6 twice, but
do you know what? I guarantee Bristol win this by 5 now.
Yeah. But we'll move on to the game on Sunday. 4 games at 3. Well, no, 3 games at 3 o'clock on the Sunday. So Leicester Newcastle we'll start with.
Okay, Leicester Newcastle at Welford Road. Well, even if it was
Tigers, can the Tigers catch the Falcons?
Yeah. Looking how Leicester are going this season, I really can't see Newcastle getting anything from this game.
Yeah.
So I think I'll go Leicester by 18.
18?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I'm also going Tigers with quite a dominant win. Now, because you've gone 18, I didn't quite know where to place myself because I was around a similar margin. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go for Tigers by 15. We haven't had an odd number yet, so I'm going to go 15.
Okay.
It's going to come down to a penalty at the last minute.
Yeah.
And someone or a drop goal, and you're going to be cheering for the penalty to go over, and I'm going to be saying, "No, please don't."
Yeah, but anyway, if we move on then to, I think, Gloucester versus Quins. That could actually be a very interesting game. I think that's live on Sunday on BT Sports. So that could be a cracking watch because you got Gloucester, who you'd say are a bit more of a pragmatic team.
Yeah.
A lot of their play comes from their set piece, whereas you've got Quins who play just this wonderful running rugby. So
yeah. I've got my prediction written down, so whatever you say.
All right, well,
mine's staying solid.
Okay, do you want me to go first, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, all right. I think Quins by 10. That's what I'll go for.
Similar to mine again. I went for Quins. I think I'm gonna love to see them playing some good rugby. Home as well. No, away. Sorry, but I said Quins by 7.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair.
But if we move on to the final game on the Sunday.
Yes.
Up at Northampton, up north with Northampton v Saracens. Well, north-ish.
Yeah, it's Northampton. It's the Midlands.
Yeah, ish.
I'll let you go first on there.
Yeah, Saracens, of course, playing some good rugby. It's a clinical team, just ruthless as always. I'm gonna go with Saracens winning this one, and I'm gonna go by. I think I'm gonna go for tight. I'm gonna think. Oh, do I go that close? I'm gonna go by 1. We haven't had a 1 point separation. I don't think.
All right. Okay. For me, the way Saracens are playing, and I see Saracens winning this.
Yeah.
I think actually, I'd say by 13.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I went by 1 because I think maybe not Tigers. Falcons might have Saints might have a sort of late resurgence and bring their attacking rugby to get some points. But one more game. It's on a Monday.
Which, by the way, can you tell me why is this not being broadcast live?
Why is it on a Monday?
That's a good question for one. I don't get either. But why is it not being broadcast? It makes no sense whatsoever.
It is a bank holiday Monday, at least.
But why is it not being broadcast? I just don't get it.
Yeah. I don't either. But is your team Hugh? I'll let you take it away.
My annoyance with BT Sport can be placed right. In fact, I'll probably be grateful that it's not being broadcast live.
I've already written the same team for us on this prediction, by the way.
Yeah, you just put London Irish. I just can't see us winning it. I can't see us winning it right now. So I'm actually going to go London Irish. And I think I actually have a sneaky suspicion this might be the biggest margin of the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to go London Irish by 27.
See, I was going to go big as well. I'm going to go, but I'm not going to go 27. I don't think it's going to be that horrible. I'm going to go London Irish by 19.
Okay, well, still very depressing.
I think you're going to do 1 point better than this week.
Great.
Slow and steady improvements.
Oh, great. But anyway, I can cry later. So once again, a good weekend of rugby and a good weekend coming up of some real interesting games.
Yeah.
So I guess what's left from us to say is go follow us on TikTok and Instagram at the Rugby Hour. Also, I hope people listening had a very Merry Christmas, and I hope everyone has a very Happy New Year. But anyway, as always, I've been Hugh Vickery.
And I've been Kieran.
Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Goodbye.